make any decision in life, I always ask myself, is this worth my time? It can be something as innocent as meeting my friends for dinner and drinks on a Friday night, but what am I looking for in this experience? Is it the value of having emotional support, or is it more about having a sense of belonging? By the way, there's a difference in wanting to meet someone out of loneliness, there's no shame in that, and genuinely meeting someone to create joy and laughter in a shared experience. Let's be clear, where attention goes, energy flows. Here's an example. In the past, whenever I meet certain people who just want to meet me because they're feeling lonely from being stuck in the same old situations and expecting me to hear their story over and over again, which translates to trauma dumping, I always leave feeling so drained and exhausted from all the negativity that was unloaded on me. I had to ask myself, what do I actually gain from this experience after giving out my time and energy? Is there a sense of fulfillment, or is it just a one sided benefit? As much as I know it's not my burden to carry, energy is contagious. And let's be real, you're not paid to be anyone's therapist. As of now, whenever my friends try to trauma dump on me, I just stay silent most of the time because I've given my advice a million times, but nothing has changed. The biggest lesson for me is to stop questioning my friends' choices in life and start redirecting all the energy into my personal growth. Let me say this again. Never give away your time and energy for free. You have to define what is your set price and what are your opportunity costs. For decades, women have been shamed for asking for money on family expenses or spending on things that's generally expensive. And let's be honest, society has benefited from women's self sacrifice and treated it as a moral obligation, while most men are being paid more for the same amount of labor. It's time to rewrite the narrative. Women should be fairly compensated for their time, and by doing so, you need to set an amount that's priced accordingly to how much you think you should be compensated for your sacrifice. As a contributing member of the society, you can envision yourself to be the CEO of a business with a net worth of $1 million or a stay at home mom with an allowance of $10,000. Either way, the price of your time is determined by how much value you see in yourself. However, if you have a scarcity mindset, you tend to undervalue yourself, resulting in people taking advantage of your time. The moment you stop choosing other people's comfort, needs, or peace and choose yourself instead, people will call you selfish, and that's okay because you're no longer easy to control. The moment you stop being convenient or available to other people's chaos, you're making them earn your presence, and they'll understand that your time and energy is expensive. Honestly, I'll never expect someone to choose me over themselves. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in 2025 is to cut my losses fast by eliminating low quality stress to gain high quality experiences. What do I mean by low quality stress? Well, entertaining people who are not on the same page as me, not committed to their personal growth, and not respectful of others. Most of the time, they don't even respect themselves, so they'll treat others the same way. The reason why it's low quality is because these are the losses that can be easily avoided if you know how to filter your inner circle based on the conditions you set. Over the years, I've cut off certain people in my life for a reason that they were perpetually late for every meetup. Here's the thing, being stuck in traffic is reasonable. I can be 15 minutes late sometimes, but what's not okay is making people wait for hours. In most cases, my grace period is 30 minutes, and I think that's acceptable to a certain extent, but anything more than that is just blatant disrespect. Let me explain. Many years back, I was supposed to meet a friend at 1 p.m. for lunch, and by the time she arrived, it was almost dinner. Trust me, there were many times I wanted to walk away and just head back home, but she would call to convince me every hour that she was on her way, and I just needed to wait a little longer. Guess what? She arrived at 5 p.m., and that took 4 hours of my precious time just waiting for her. Other than that, I also used to have a friend who would spontaneously change plans at the very last minute. because she was still sleeping in the evening. Can you believe it? Mind you, it was 6 p.m. and we were supposed to meet at 7 p.m. for dinner. What really annoyed me was that I always had to call her to confirm her location as I was afraid that she'll be late. And she thinks it's okay to push back the timing for another 2 hours. You know what's the best part? When I called her, she claimed that she was still very sleepy, so she might want to continue sleeping for a bit before she met me. This lesson has taught me that not everyone deserves my empathy, and I should have removed myself from people or places that were not serving me. I can assure you that if you don't eliminate toxic people right now, you won't have the time and energy to focus on the bigger things in life, which are your peace, your purpose, your goals, and your happiness. In some cases, your health may take a toll on you because you're dealing with chaos from other people and it puts you on a high level of cortisol that weakens your immune system. Unfortunately, I have to say that the worst of all is dealing with people who have scarcity mindset because they will often drag you down to their level of consciousness before you even realize it. Here's why. When you're in scarcity, you view others as competitors for the limited resources in the world as you define it. The constant worry about never enough fuels chronic stress, anxiety, and a pessimistic outlook on life. By associating yourself with scarcity, it can be emotionally draining and erodes your own confidence and sense of well being. Not only will you be overly critical of others, feeling as though people are always competing with you to see who's prettier, who's richer, who's smarter, or who's more popular, it never ends. Once you view the success of others as a threat, it means you don't think there's enough abundance in this world for you to be successful. When you're in scarcity, you're also more inclined to accept short term pleasure. You know what I'm talking about. One night stands, flings, and situationships don't serve you, despite knowing so damn well that you're being used and there's absolutely zero benefit from it. I hate to break it to you, but it's the same as coffee dates. Let's say that I'm being paid $100 an hour for my time at work. Why would I entertain coffee dates with men assuming coffee is $10 when I can make 10x the amount within an hour? It just makes no sense. So, what I'm trying to say is your attention is currency. But when you're in scarcity, you're willing to entertain people who underpay you and you'll settle for anyone who question your worth. And let's be honest, if you really value your time and energy, you'll be very discerning of the people who have access into your life. Mind you, you can be lonely but not desperate. In fact, loneliness isn't about how many people are in the room, it's about people who truly understand who you really are. Trust me, you can be surrounded by people everywhere you go but still feel that no one really sees you. I hate to break it to you, but when you're giving away your time and energy for free, it can only mean one thing. Your desperation is driving you to accept certain behaviors that go against what you stand for. I'm sure we are all familiar with men ghosting women or taking 3 to 5 business days to respond, while she's freaking out whether he's dead. Here comes the best part. I can assure you that all of this become unattractive when you actually start charging people for your time and energy. Whatever mind games they play on you become an insult to your wisdom. You know your worth and you're not settling for less. When you show others that you mean business and you're not negotiating your worth, people who want to take advantage of your time and energy are instantly repelled by your standards. Can you imagine entertaining someone with low credit score while you have high credit score? If you're struggling with a low credit score, it affects your credibility in life because people don't trust you to handle finances or anything important. It also means that you are unreliable. So if the bank doesn't trust you with loan, I don't trust you with my time. It's not that deep. And let me get this straight. I believe that nobody can ever take your time and energy without your permission. For instance, if you don't like someone within the first few hours of meeting them, you can always leave and preserve the remaining time and energy for yourself. If the vibe is off, you don't have to stay there. Please don't feel bad about it because you can't buy back time. Once today is gone, it's gone forever. You can't get it back. Also, there's always a mutual energy exchange between you and whoever you come into contact with. You can absolutely drain yourself by doing things you don't want to do or putting up with things you don't want to put up with. Self betrayal is draining. I would rather adjust my life to your absence than adjust my boundaries to your disrespect. So, in order for people to appreciate your yes, they must first learn to respect your no. Ultimately, you'll realize that many things in this world are just distractions to waste your time and energy. There's a reason why most successful people only surround themselves with other high achievers who are as equally disciplined, motivated, and resilient. First of all, they're not easily distracted, that's for sure, and they're very unlikely to waste their time and energy on things or people that's not benefiting them in any way. They value their time as much as they value their business. Here's how it works. Treat your time as investment and pay attention to what gives you the greatest return. If someone on the street asks for $10, you're probably not giving it to them. And there's no way you're giving a 30% tip for a normal dining experience. Yet, so many of us just waste an ungodly amount of our time. We throw it away every day thinking there'll be more time tomorrow, and the cycle repeats. That's how procrastination begins. Let's be real. If I don't make a conscious effort to set my intention every day, there's an 80% chance that I will not maximize my time well. I may start waking up late and skip my workout classes. One of the most practical ways to not waste time is to see it as an investment and keep track of the returns you get for your investment. Here's the catch, it doesn't have to be a monetary value. It can be as simple as emotional fulfillment. Since 2025, I've been giving donations to a charity organization every month, knowing that it's for a good cause, and it makes me feel good to help people who are fighting for a chance to survive in this economy. The thing is, no one gets monetary returns for donations. The only return I'm getting is the sense of fulfillment, and that's good enough for me. As long as you define what returns are meaningful to you, it's never a waste of time. This approach has led me to recognize that some things offer incredible immediate returns on investment, while other investments are likely to be low interest, high security, long term investments, such as going to the gym, eating right, reading books, and listening to podcasts. If you really think about it, many activities are worthless from an investment perspective. Whatever benefit they seem to give doesn't last any longer than the activity itself. Partying is a great example. Speaking from experience, most people go to parties for two reasons. One, they're there to socialize, have fun, and get drunk. Two, they're there to seek validation and make themselves feel better in the spotlight. Either way, the second I leave the club, I realize that I've gained nothing in return. Well, for a start, the conversations are not mentally stimulating. Interactions are mostly superficial because no one is sober and the place is too loud for any intellectual conversation to take place other than fulfilling the basic human need for connection. Basically, I've invested my time into junk. It gives me absolutely nothing of value. Trust me, there are plenty of ways to build meaningful connections that are worth your time, which can potentially add value to your investment. The thing is, you have to be able to differentiate real assets that appreciate in value versus fraudulent assets that are disguised as entertainment. Although I'm not entirely against the party culture, I still go to social events and parties once in a while. It doesn't make up more than 20% of my life. At the end of the day, it's about how much you value yourself, your time, your energy, and your worth. Because people will try to sell you below price at every chance they get. Mind you, free labor is not moral or kind. It's teaching people to undervalue you. And trust me, people literally know they're mistreating you. They're aware of their actions, but they don't give a shit about how you feel. You have to understand that what happened to you is not your fault, but how you deal with it is your responsibility. Someday, you have to decide if these people are worth your time and energy. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe if you enjoy my content. Bye!